Hello guys, I'm Belen Huang. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be talking about the new era of happiness psychology by psychologist Martin Seligman, who is one of my favorite psychologists. And personally, I really like this talk because it's interesting and easy to understand. So let's dive right in. So at the beginning of the talk, Seligman stated the progress of psychology today, which he said is good, but not yet enough. What is good about psychology today then, or during the time when the talk was taken place during the early 2000s, was that improvements were being made in terms of diseases that is now being able to identify and cure the types of these diseases that were not found or used to be seen as incurable, while continuing to make progress in developing theories for mental illnesses, as well as having a better understanding of the cause and effects of which may have, as more are now measurable. Not to mention that alongside technological advancements, new methods of drug treatment and testing were being produced and made miserable people less miserable. However, what isn't good, Seligman states, is that about the time when psychology and psychiatry were improving, psychologists began to lose morals, meaning forgetting that patients are also humans, while seeing them as victims and forgot their own responsibility, especially towards the disabled. Moreover, psychology just focused so much on the mentally disabled that it neglects to improve normal people's lives and to make us happier and more productive. Simultaneously, viewing individuals as victims also disenables psychologists to come up with positive intervention, Seligman says, that help improving the quality of people's lives more than just curing and identifying diseases. Hence, because of that, Seligman, alongside a few psychologists, came up with the notion of the happiness psychology, the positive psychology, which would aim to view, treat, and improve strengths the same as weaknesses, and cure deficits the same as being geniuses. In addition, Seligman also investigated reasons why some people are extremely happy and what makes them different from us, the same as how we normally investigate extremely depressed people, but towards happy people. According to his findings, extremely happy people all have one thing in common, and that is they're really sociable and are all in a romantic relationship. Nonetheless, being social and being happily surrounded by a bunch of friends is not it. Seligman believes that there are three types of happy lives. The number one is pleasure. To put that simply, it would be the pursuit of positive emotions and finding ways to amplify them. However, it is heritable and habituates quickly. The second one, engagement. For instance, his friend Len, Seligman talked about, although he doesn't really have a successful love life, but he is nevertheless capable of flow. That means to be in the moment when he's doing something he really likes and being totally engaged. And being in flow is more than just feeling pleasure. More than just pleasure, because when we're feeling pleasure, we are aware of what's happening, whereas when we are in flow, we can't feel anything. To do so, Seligman states, we have to know what our highest strengths are and to use them as much as we can in our life. And the third and last one is a meaningful life. And that is to know what our highest strengths are and to use them to contribute to serve something greater beyond ourselves. Further, Seligman brought a few examples on activities that we can do to generate happiness in our lives in the long term, namely designing a beautiful day for ourselves or a strengths date between couples, make a gratitude visit, and to contribute, rather trying to experience as much fun as possible, which have all found to make lasting changes in people's well-being. In regard to the three types of lives, Seligman's survey done over thousands of individuals shows that the pursuit of pleasure has almost no contribution to life satisfaction, when the other two, engagement and meaning, strongly affect how much pleasure we feel in our lives. Furthermore, not only having engagement and meaning in our lives makes us feel more life satisfaction, but it benefits longevity, health, and productivity as well. Also, Seligman found that these skills, the skills to relieve stress and anxiety, and the skills to achieve pleasure are different. While through developments in technology, entertainment, and design, people will use that to achieve more pleasure, engagement, and meaning, and we would all become good enough, despite the capability of those developments being used for destructive purposes. In my opinion, as Seligman stated, the function of psychology should not only be used for scientific or medical purposes, but it could be nevertheless applied to everyday people like us as well. Even though now I'm preparing for media and culture when I go to university, there was a brief period of time when I wanted to study psychology, and that's when I read the book, The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat by psychologist Arthur Sachs early last year, which is around this time last year. A book that could be considered as a must-read for psychology students. And that's what Seligman thinks made me think of what Sachs was saying, particularly in the very last section of the book. Almost the same as Seligman, Sachs believes that psychology shouldn't be used only to define people's problems and deficits, which is not unnecessary. Psychologists, hospitals, and homes should also apply their knowledge to find out the strengths and talents of these people, even in the ones that we would consider as the most autistic, careless, or forgetful because of their problems, etc. To which I agree to. Why should psychology only be used to highlight people's weaknesses and deficits, rather than helping individuals to find and liberate their strengths? And as Seligman says, improve on people's lives. As he argues, only by finding our strengths, we could use them and apply them as broadly as we can in our lives, so that we could live a longer, healthier, and more productive life. And so that we could live, in Seligman's words, a life filled with engagement and meaning. One other thing I would like to discuss is Seligman argues, in spite of the chances of it being misused, technology, entertainment, and design could help us to achieve happier lives. But has technology, entertainment, and design nowadays really helped us feel happier, more satisfaction and pleasure? I would say that though technology has brought up immense instant pleasure and heaps of convenience, the limitation it has on our physical and mental well-being still weighs more than its advantages. A very representative and relatable example, I believe, of the 21st century is our mobile phones. Undoubtedly, and needless to say, today increasingly more of us are seeing ourselves being more attracted and addicted to our phones. On the metro, looking over the crowd, almost everybody would be looking down, scrolling through their phones up and down, left and right. I would argue that especially amongst Gen Z, rarely brings any mutual enlightenment or pleasure, merely an instant dopamine high. Beyond that, through our phones, although our phones are capable of bringing us instant pleasure, it fails to bring us long-lasting pleasure and satisfaction, only emptiness and dissatisfaction. While we feel bad for not accomplishing anything at the end of the day. The same may also apply to others, for example, online video games or binge watching shows or videos on Netflix or YouTube. In general, with these technologies, we will not feel pleasure, nor we will feel fulfilled. And if we are not feeling fulfilled, let alone the motivation of trying to achieve what Seligman says in his talk, to find our strengths and serve and achieve a life filled with engagement and meaning. More than that, of course, comes with social problems online, namely online bullying and other types of mental health issues, all resulting in a negative effect on our emotions and body. Overall, I think though what Seligman says is true, we do have the potential to use modern technology to achieve pleasure, engagement, and meaning. And I believe that with the technology these days, it is certainly doable. Albeit, how do we utilize technology without being dragged into the abysses of mental health issues, and that may lead to all sorts of other problems, is surely a question that we need to think about today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you find this video helpful, whether it is by understanding the talk or coming up with new ideas. Please don't forget to turn on your notifications, subscribe to my channel, and like this video and comment below. I would like to hear what do you guys think about this talk or my ideas. And that's it for today. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.